How's it going, everybody? Alright, so I'm going to give you my 2 cents on this whole option select debate in this video. The sheer amount of hyperbole and misinformation that is being spread when it comes to option selects is reaching comical levels. We'll be going over the issues that they bring to the game, as well as how you can counter them once you've identified that your opponent is using specific ones. But before that, we're going to talk about our sponsor. Opera GX once again was kind enough to hook us up. And don't even think, oh, what is he trying to sell me this time? Well, this thing is completely free, so nobody wants your money. So listen up. Opera GX is the world's first browser specifically tailored towards the needs of gamers. One of its best features is the GX control. I'm sure you've all seen the memes about browsers eating away all your RAM, or maybe you've experienced this yourself. Usually you'd need a third-party tool to get this under control, but with Opera GX, you have this built into the browser. You can simply limit how many resources your browser has available, which ultimately means a smoother gaming experience. Other than that, you have full customization of the browser, from color palettes to backgrounds. Make the browser look however you want. And then one thing that will be really convenient for gamers. You have a built-in Twitch and Discord integration. You get notifications in the browser, well, if you so wish, so you'll never miss when your favorite streamer goes online. I'd make a joke about that being me, but I barely stream. Oh well, and then there's the GX Corner. You can keep up to date with the newest free games and general developments in the gaming scene, be that new releases or CD Projekt Red and their newest stunt. You'll find it all here. There is much more for you to discover, like a VPN or an ad blocker. Yeah, advertising for an ad blocker. But yeah, download link with more info can be found in the video description, so go and check it out. It is free after all. Okay, with that out of the way, back to the topic at hand. Option selects, their effect on the game, and the nonsensical responses they create from the uninformed community. So before we dive any further into that topic, what even is an option select? Well, it basically means that a specific input can have multiple outcomes depending on what your opponent does. In the strictest sense of the definition, our normal parries are an option select. If the opponent lets the attack fly, you parry. If the opponent feints, then you throw a heavy. One single input, but 2 different outcomes. Just to be very clear here, I'm not telling you that we should call normal parries an option select. This is just to illustrate what it means. Our community mostly uses the term when they talk about zone option select. It means you input a zone attack instead of a heavy to parry. If your opponent lets the attack fly, you parry. If they feinted, you throw out your zone attack. That is what an option select is. It does not matter what said option select beats, whether it beats a feint to guard break, a feint to bash, or whatever else. That is completely irrelevant. It is all about a single input that has multiple different outcomes depending on your opponent. The sheer existence of option selects is not a problem in my eyes, but this doesn't mean that all currently possible option selects in For Honor are healthy for the game. Far from it, actually. A lot of characters have built-in option selects in their kit without abusing the broken input sanitization currently present in the game. So while many players despise their sheer existence, I personally think that the biggest problem when it comes to them is identifying that your opponent is using them. That problem is actually twofold. For one, it's the usual misinformation and lack of knowledge which is rampant in the community. Some of you might have asked themselves, why did I bother to even explain what an option select was? We're almost in year 5 and we've been using them since early year 1. Some people might be new to the game, others might just be blissfully ignorant, while loudly stating their opinions anyway. But yeah, to counter something, you need to know of its existence and its implications in a fight. And for many people, it's too much to ask to get that information from an outside source. It's not explained within the game, so it must be a bug, and that guy's a cheater. Which brings me to the second part of the problem. It's not just that it isn't explained anywhere in the game, it's that you cannot identify how you just got parried. And with how, I mean you do not know which inputs your opponent just used. I've been preaching that people need to make reads and that it is vital to gather information during the fight to shift your guesses to educated guesses. but if it takes me multiple encounters to simply figure out what my opponent does know and what they utilize, well, that can be a bit frustrating. Once again, it is the UI that has severe shortcomings. If a symbol popped up to show me the guy I'm fighting just guard break option selected me, then I wouldn't have to feign 17 heavies just to identify this. The key once again is information. Ubisoft has preached this many times and has even made balance changes because of it. Aramusha players might remember how they removed the guaranteed top light after a landed side heavy. The reason for that is that the light still showed an indicator and new players might have been confused as why they can't block it. And it's pretty much the same here. If I'm fighting someone new or someone that name changes every 2 weeks or god forbid a barcode name, because building an identity on the internet is detrimental nowadays, then it can take quite a while to figure someone out. Contrary to when I fight well-known comp players, then I do know already that they know how to use them and know when to use which one, depending on the situation. Like I said, the problem is not knowing, on so many levels actually. I'll be going into more details in the near future when I make a video about the current UI and its many flaws. But for now, let's talk about what you can do if your opponent is using option selects, or many different option selects. The most important thing you need to know is that currently every well-known option select has a counter that can be used by all heroes. One that works against all of them is Feint into Light. That one beats all zone option selects with the exception of Conquerors. It also beats Dodge OS, Bash OS and GB OS. Because it beats so many of them, this limits how accurate a read you actually need to make, so that's quite convenient. Obviously, the other guy can make a read as well and parry that light. Now, for the most problematic one that is currently known to the public, guard break option select. The reason why it is so strong is because you can safely use it while out of stamina and against players in Revenge. None of the others have that option. Revenge can grab through all of them, but because you can't counter guard break, when your guard break attempt is GB'd, makes that one rather safe to use. What it does lose to in both of these scenarios, on top of the Feint to Light like I previously mentioned, is Feint to Heavy. Because of the slowed down GB while out of stamina and the reduced guard break vulnerability in Revenge, Feint into Heavy is an option here. Mind you that people that do use these option selects tend to catch on quickly, unlike many of the normal matchmaking opponents that you face who will feint to guard break 12 times in a row and eat a zone every single time. So don't overdo it. Both parties, whether you're attacking or defending. So what's my verdict here? Personally, I think that option selects like GB or Bash hurt the game more than they add. Heroes like Shugoki are almost completely unplayable because of them. He already suffers against Bash-based heroes alone, add in the extra option select and it's an even more heavily skewed matchup. The even more cursed inputs that aren't that well known, obviously they should go as well. Personally, I am however fine with zone option select. Granted, every hero should have them, but other than that, I think those do add value. Not everyone will agree with me here, but that's fine. I'm sure there are also players that will defend the other option selects. The zone one has been known for such a long time and has been incorporated in everyday play, I'd say. It's easily punished if spammed and while definitely safer than a normal parry attempt in a lot of scenarios, especially if you can parry externally with it, I do think it has its place. What needs to be done is teach players about its existence and how to counter it. You've heard me say this plenty of times, but this community's greatest problem is its unwillingness to learn. And while I agree that it's partly Ubisoft's fault for not having extensive learning tools within the game, the whole blame doesn't fall just on them. But yeah, that's my take on it. If you've watched the whole video because you wanted to know how to do them, then I have to disappoint you. The info's out there, so go find it. And no matter which approach I would have chosen here, I'd gotten flack for it either way. Had I explained the inputs, people would say I promote the cheats. Now you can say I want to keep them to myself. Scroll through the comments, I'm sure many will say that. But oh well, I hope the video was interesting. Thanks for watching. Laters everybody.